Okay, so I just filmed my top 5 wins today, so I have decided to film another video, another tag video actually, because now that I'm finally a working girl, I don't know what my schedule's gonna be, so I decided to film 2 videos tonight. Okay, so I am doing the TBR book tag, and as usual, I don't know off the top of my head who created this tag, but I will look it up for you guys and post the link once I'm done filming and I'm starting to upload the video. Okay, so first question: how do you keep track of your TBR? Well, other than Goodreads, I usually make documents on Microsoft Word because I love writing lists. I like writing it down, whether I'm handwriting it or typing it via the computer. And then when I'm done writing it, I erase the title off my list of books. Okay, question number 2. Is your TBR mostly print or ebooks? Print books. I have actually a Nook, the Barnes & Noble Nook. I got it as a gift from my mom. Originally, I was against the whole idea of using an e-reader because, of course, as readers, we love books and touching them and the feel of paper beneath our fingertips and turning the pages and the smell of the books and the smell of the bookstore. But my mom did get me and my sister and my brother-in-law e-readers, and, I figured I'd go ahead and try it, and I did for a little while. Unfortunately, I no longer have a Barnes & Noble gift card, so I can't really buy anything via my Nook. But I might, once again, just like I did last year, I never did get a Barnes & Noble gift card last Christmas, but this Christmas I might ask for one again. But I would like to use it because it's kind of nice, having some books that because I have so many books. My mom's always, giving me a hard. Mom and my dad are always giving me a hard time about how I buy so many books, and my mom has kind of made a deal with me the last couple of years that yes, I can buy more books, but I have to at least get rid of some. I know, blasphemous, but I can't blame her. She doesn't want to spend anyone, buy me another bookshelf. Although now I technically could do it for myself. I could buy my own. Now that I'm working, at some point, I might be able to buy my own, another bookshelf. I don't know where I put it because I am going to hang something up there. I probably will hang something right there, but, and I don't want to put anything, so maybe over there, something on that wall. But if I bought another bookshelf, so then I could have more books without having to get a wing. But I figure maybe my mom would be a little okay with it as long as I'm buying it and I'm not making her or my dad buy it. So I do have, like I said, basically I have an e-reader, but I don't use it that much. I have some books on there, and I have at least one book that my mom bought for herself. Just so when we're traveling and stuff, because if I'm not using it, then she figured, well, she may as well use it. So I do have one, I just haven't used it, and I don't have a gift card to buy books on it, so. But mostly print. You can sort of see my bookshelf in the camera. Okay, question number 3. Question number 3. How do you determine which book to read next from your TBR? At first I didn't think I was, but I think I actually am a mood reader. It's whatever mood I'm in. I do try to follow the order of how I have it typed on the computer of what books that I have to read, but there's times where there's just certain books I'm not in the mood to read. So I kind of am a mood reader in that way. So that's usually how I decide, whatever strikes my fancy, or sometimes if I feel guilty that the book has been sitting there for a while and I want to read it, or I'm inspired to read certain books like a classic or something, basically, to sum it up, in the mood, whatever I'm in the mood for. Although I do try to be like, okay, read one fantasy and then one classic, one horror. I try to, go with genres. Okay, question number 4. A book that's been on your TBR the longest. The Fellowship of the Ring. I read The Hobbit, but I can never get through the rest of the trilogy. I'm sorry. I mean, it is very hard to get that book. No offense, I'm sure it is beautiful writing and all that, but I feel like, the Lord of the Rings, the original trilogy, at least the book-wise, is not accessible to everybody. I'm sorry. Yes, it's beautiful language, it's a beautiful story, but no, not everybody can get into the book. Sometimes it's just easier to watch the movie. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's just... I'm very passionate about this, because I have a friend who loves Lord of the Rings, and she was an English teacher, so of course Lord of the Rings is, for English teachers, that is a masterpiece. And we've kind of, debated about this before. Like, I compared it to A Song of Ice and Fire series, and how it felt like the epicness of the Song of Ice and Fire series compared to Tolkien, that they're very similar in that sense. And there's kind of a hero's journey type storyline going on, but there's multiple. It's a little different, and yes, it has cursing, and it has vulgar language, and a lot more sex than Lord of the Rings does, because Lord of the Rings doesn't really even have any sex. But I get so frustrated with my friend, because she's like, as soon as I compared it to, Song of Ice and Fire series, I was like, how dare I do that? They are not even the same league. And I told her that I feel like Lord of the Rings is just not an accessible read. And the problem is she's a very opinionated person. And she writes these long paragraphs on Facebook where she expresses her opinion about something. And, she can have her opinion. I'm not saying that she can. I'm not saying I'm one of those people that how dare you have that opinion. It's just, I feel so intimidated by her. And I feel kind of defensive about it, how, I feel judged by her that I would rather read A Song of Ice and Fire series than Lord of the Rings. I mean, I would like to get to Lord of the Rings at some point, but I'm sorry, it's just not accessible, and it's very hard. I mean, my friend Terry said he spent a page describing a tree. And modern audiences, especially us millennials, have a hard time getting it, that's why there's YA. Because it's so much more, which is a whole nother thing I could talk about. But that's the book, The Fellowship of the Ring. That whole trilogy I've had that whole trilogy on my TBR for a long time. And I don't know if I'll ever get around to it. Maybe by the time I get around to Fellowship, I'll be old and gray. And hopefully my eyesight will still be good by that time. But I don't know. I mean, I keep trying to read it, and who knows. And I actually have a Big Books book club that I created, so who knows, I might put The Fellowship of the Ring on that book club if anyone's interested, throw it out there. It might help having another person read it with me. So that was number 4. Question number 5. A book that was recently added to your TBR. Now, this book is for 2 questions, although, actually, I might question the other question that the answer is, I'm using this book for the answer, it doesn't really count anymore, because it's just published. So I might have to skip that particular question when I get to it, because I don't have a book. I should have looked for one, but okay, so a book that was recently added to your TBR, Tower of Dawn, by Sarah J. Maas. I just added that one. I am still Team Kale all the way. I mean, I love all the boys in that, except for Rowan. I mean, well, no, I like Rowan. It's just, sometimes his personality is just, I don't always like his personality, but I've only read Heir of Fire, so Queen of Shadows, I still have not gone into it. I might get into it this weekend, this month, because I'm making this kind of like my sequels month. I'm kind of procrastinating it, because, like I said, I'm a Kale fan, And I know he gets even worse in Queen of Shadows, I believe that people have said. So people have gotten really pissed at him. I don't want to stop loving him. But then again, he is just a complicated character that's really screwed up. And that's how humans are. But this Tower of Dawn is basically in his story. Basically the story about because he's not in Empire of Storms, I heard, and so Tower of Dawn is basically what he was doing during the events of Empire of Storms, which I cannot read until I get to Queen of Shadows. I just have to make myself read it this month, though. I will make myself read it. Okay, a book that was strictly on your TBR because of the cover. Question number 6. I don't have an answer for this one, because I've said before, I'm not a cover buy person. I mean, I think there was one time I mentioned in another video I filmed recently where it was kind of a cover buy moment, but it was partly, in my defense, there was no summary of the book when I got it at the bookstore, and I was kind of just, there was a buy 5 books for you get buy 5 books for $5 kind of deal that last month at my used bookstore, and so it was kind of a last minute buy, but there was no summary in the back. Actually, not that day. That was enough. I mean, it was still, actually, that sale was going on all month. I bought the book during that month also, but actually, that book I did not buy it for the sale. This one I bought separately on a different day, but it didn't have a summary. I liked so that was one of the few times where that was a cover buy. So I guess that could be my answer, I guess. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. Oh my doggy! Oh, Belle. Belle just got knocked down. Okay, answer the beast. Oh, dang it, beast. Beastie, stay up. Are you like the other Belle? Difficult. Okay. So, I guess the closest to the cover, I guess this would, I don't know when I'm going to get around to it, but I guess this one I can use this one as an answer. It's interesting, it was more a title buy than anything, because it sounded like an interesting title. Like, when I go to that used bookstore, it's very hard to shop and find exactly what you want to buy, because it doesn't sell it doesn't sell a lot of the popular YA books, or popular, even adult books. It doesn't sell, I only found one Outlander book there, possibly 2 might have been there, and there's, only a few Stephen King books there, and some classics. Again, it's a used bookstore, so the selection isn't ideal, but it's good price. But it's good prices. So I guess this is the closest. A Map of the World. It's historical fiction. I think that's the impression I got. I kind of looked at the back a little bit and read quotes and stuff, one of the 10 best books of 1994. I guess that's the closest. I'll put that back in a little bit. Okay, so that one, which number 6, the book that's strictly on TBR because of the cover. So, A Map of the World will be my best answer for that, because I know I don't do cover buys that much. I read the summaries. I look at the cover, and then I read the summaries first before I decide if I'm going to buy it. Okay, question number 7. Is there a book on your TBR that you don't plan on reading? No. Well, I said hopefully not. Hopefully I plan to read all my books here. I did kind of have an answer for this one, but I actually just donated it to the used bookstore, because and my mom already has a copy of the book, so if I ever it was a hardback edition, the one I had, and then she has paperback edition, but I saw the movie version of it, So I was kind of not as interested anymore. But it was Girl on the Train. And of course, with thrillers and mysteries, you kind of don't want to know what happens when whether you watch it or you read it. And I remember my sister saying that she almost regretted not watching the movie first, because the book was the way it was constructed, I guess, was a little confusing and didn't necessarily work on the page, at least in her opinion. But then the fact that I knew what was going to happen, I was like hesitant to, and I just didn't have the urge or inspiration to read it. So I ended up donating it. And like I said, my mom already has a paperback copy. So if I do decide to read it, I can always read her copy. Like I said, that was Girl on the Train. Okay, question number 8. An unpublished book on your TBR you're excited about. Okay, this is the one where I mentioned Tower of Dawn again, but when I pre-answer these questions, because that's what I usually do. I write down the questions from other videos I've watched, and then I come up with the answers, and then I film at some point. And like I said, my original answer was Tower of Dawn, but that book just recently came out, I believe, so it doesn't count. And I do not have an answer for that question. So I don't have an answer for number 8. I don't have an unpublished book I'm excited about. Okay, number 9. A book on your TBR everyone has read, but you haven't. Fangirl. I've been wanting to read that one, because it, for obvious reasons, I'm a fangirl. It's about a fangirl and who has anxiety, which I actually have. So I can kind of relate to the character, but I just haven't got around to it because, buying contemporary is not my first instinct when going to the bookstore. My first instinct is classics, historical fiction, or fantasy. So it's just, and they don't have the paperback edition. I mean, the paperback edition might be out now. Although hard editions are nice, and as I've said multiple times before, now that I'm employed officially, I could treat myself a little bit, and maybe eventually one day do a huge book haul. Oh, my mom would love that though. She would just love if I did that. Okay, so that was number 9. It's Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. That's a book on my TBR that everyone else has read but me. Okay, number 10. A book that on your TBR that everyone has recommended to you. Well, not everybody has recommended this book to me, but I watched a lot of booktube videos, and I made comments on other people's videos where they suggested it. Although that might have been partly because I will say that I wanted to read some V. Schwab and stuff like that. So I'm talking about Vicious by her, which I finally did get, and I actually, on one of my videos on here, I have a video where, in one of my book hauls, where I mentioned that I finally got Vicious. It's like my mom ordered it for me online, because I do not do online shopping. So mom does not want me to put my card online, so she's the one who usually does the online shopping. Unless I'm using a gift. If I'm using a gift card, if I'm going to buy a gift card, like at Books A Million or BAM, or if I ever got an Amazon gift card, then yeah, I would do the purchasing. But if it involves using credit card, then my mom's the one who does it. It's usually Amazon shopping. That's her thing. So she finally got me the book Vicious. I have the urge to read it right now, but I'm trying to stick to my TBR, because there are a lot, if I don't stick to it, then a lot of books will get neglected. Like some of the classics, as much as I do like classics, just sometimes they're my second choice. They're not, I don't get to them first. So yeah, I mean, not everybody, but people have recommended Vicious to me. Okay, number 11. Question number 11. A book on your TBR that you're dying to read. I guess I could say, I say on here All the Crooked Saints, because that was on because that is on my Goodreads TBR. And Tower of Dawn now. Like I said, Vicious, I just got, and I really want to read that one. There was one book, historical Voyager. I want to get to the third book in the Outlander series. I did start that a little bit. But like I said, I'm trying to stick to my sequels here. So a lot of my sequels I have actually on the floor right now because all the books that I want to try to read this month, I just set them on the floor. So yeah, I have quite a few books that I'm dying to read on my TBR list. Okay, question number 12. How many books on your Goodreads TBR shelf? Well, as of the other day, it's now up to 119. I think if I'm reading it and I'm on the right list on Goodreads, because I added Tower of Dawn and also this historical fiction book that it was recommended because if it's if you like Kate Morning, which I am a huge fan of Kate Morning, I love her books. It said if you like Kate Morning, then they recommended this one. It's like Daughter on the Red Hill or Daughters of the Red Hill. I don't remember. I would have to look. Okay. Oh, well, that's the last question. So, that's my TBR tag. That's my version of the TBR book tag. Like I said, I will get to the, I will look for the original tag and post the link on here. I hope you guys enjoyed my answer, found my interest interesting, and if you have any thoughts, then feel free to comment. Alright, bye.